Hello and welcome to my review of the new Tyranids Start Collecting box set by Games Workshop. It consists of 10 miniatures and it will cost you £50. Now, according to Maths Cat, she's gone away, she's done her maths, and she's worked out that this box set will save you £29 from buying all the models in it separately. It's not quite the same saving as the previous box set, and also the Broodlord is going to look pretty much exactly the same if you were to get a second set, whereas if you bought 2 or 3 sets of the previous box set, you're going to have 2 or 3 different looking Hive Tyrants. The Gargoyles are going to look similar, I suppose, but the Warriors, there's plenty of options, and the Hive Tyrant, you can have a normal Hive Tyrant with a Venom Cannon or a Whip, or a Hive Tyrant with wings, or even the Swarmlord. So that had more potential, I think, the previous kit, and you save more money than buying the model separately. However, this kit does give you sort of, I suppose, 3 options with the Trygon, either a Trygon, Trygon Prime, or Morlock. If I have to be honest, I do prefer the previous box set, just because you've got quite a few options for the Hive Tyrant, and the Warriors are decent models. In this set, I'm not a huge fan of the Genestealer models, and I think the Broodlord is quite a single pose miniature. But having said that, the Trygon or Morlock or Trygon Prime, whatever you choose to make it, is a fantastic model if you can overlook the Genestealers and the Broodlord. Before I look at the models, I have to say the instruction booklet here is amazing. It's great. It gives you all the detailed breakdown of how to build the models, and it also gives you a bit of a colour guide on how they've worked out, some of the toxin stuff and the adrenal glands and the carapace, and it does that for all of the models. Look, even the Broodlord, just for the skin colour, and for their Genestealers even goes through what you should do for those. It also gives you their data sheets and all the rules. There are going to be 3 abilities that they don't really cover in depth, which is obviously the Synapse, the Shadow in the Warp, and the Instinctive Behaviour. But they're all covered in the codex in the background, as you can see. So if you want all the rules, you're still better off getting the codex. I do like the fact that it comes with like an advert as well. I wish it advertised all of the models in the Tyranid collection. I think that would be great. And I wish that the old Start Collecting set was still available too. Now let's have a look at the models themselves. Now, I think in the unboxing, I think the Broodlord is, I think it's a 4-year-old model. So it's still sort of relatively new. I think it came out in sort of 2013 time. It's a really nice model, really straightforward, quick and easy, quick to build. You just got to make sure you put all the little claws and things on the arms and the legs before you glue it to the base. Otherwise, you're going to have a few difficulties, and try and get rid of all the mold lines and things. Nice looking pose. What I've done here is, it looks different than the one on the box because I just cut off the nub that goes into the socket of the arm and just twisted the arm upright. I could have moved this arm lower. It's up to you. I think that the pose on the box is great. I have another one of these. That's why I've changed the pose slightly to that. But typically, if you don't remove the nubs off the limbs, you're only going to be stuck with that one pose on the box. So it's up to you. I really like this model. I think I said in the review, although it's monopose, it's got plenty of detail, and it just looks like a bigger, beefier Genestealer. I really like the length of these rending claws and his facial expression and all the rest of it. So a nice HQ choice. It's got lots of attacks, really meaty in close combat with lots of damage and attack. Really damaging in close combat too. And then we'll look at the Genestealers, which are undoubtedly the worst models in the set. They still look okay, but they're now pushing 13 years old, guys. 13-year-old models. I've tried to make them look a bit better by taking them off the slot bases and putting them on these sort of cityscape bases, which I'll be painting up and putting a load of snow on anyway, so you're not really going to see much detail, but I just wanted a bit of a difference, a contrast to the other set that I've made. And likewise, I haven't put the extended carapaces on these. I've just given them the rending claws rather than the scything talons. So they're all right models. They're an absolute pain to put together in terms of all the mould lines. They're easy to glue if you use the slotter bases too, but obviously mine were a bit more difficult because they I've glued them to the bases just on like 1 foot, which is a bit more problematic. But it's nice that you can move all the arms in different positions. The legs, though, are going to be in one position for all of them, but you can't really tell that much. And the heads, you get duplicate heads. You get a fair few heads, but double of them, if that makes sense. So you'll get some that look like this, that look very, very, very similar, other than the sort of limb position. So Genestealer's weakest part of the set, yeah, as I say, 13-year-old model. Definitely need an upgrade, a new sprue, a new set for Games Workshop to make. And then we move on to the elephant in the room, which is the Trygon. I think the sprue I said came out in 2009, so it's a good 8-year-old model, but it is just an awesome model. I can't say enough good things about this. I was really looking forward to owning one of these ever since I saw it on the Forge World website when it was in resin. It was originally a resin model and now in plastic. Yeah, it definitely fulfilled my expectations. It gives you lots of options to put different limbs and things on it. You can have different tails, different heads. It is a massive model. It's a lovely sort of monstrous creature. I love all these limbs with the huge monstrous scything talons, and I do like the little claws that are on the carapace itself. The head and the mouth area is fantastic. Lots of detail. I wouldn't hesitate getting another one, put it that way. Would I get another box to get this model? No, I'd probably just buy the model separate. And that is, even though you're saving some money because you get the models with it, there's just no need for me to get any more Genestealers or a 4th Broodlord. I mean, I know one's a Patriarch, but there's just no reason to get, you know, a 3rd one of those Broodlords, even though you're technically getting it for free by getting the Trygon and the Genestealers in the set. But yeah, fantastic model. Really great on its own, and I'm so chuffed that Games Workshop put it in this set. They could have put another big monstrous creature in though, but nothing of a similar price point other than maybe Hive Guard or the Hive Tyrant, which they already did in the previous one. It would have been nice if they stuck with the Trygon sort of theme and maybe had the Trygon and some Raveners and the Red Terror, or maybe not the Red Terror, but you get where I'm coming from, kind of like a subterranean kind of snake type set, maybe even Zoanthropes, Raveners and the Trygon. But they've gone for the Genestealer look. They're obviously using a lot of the models that they made, you know, 13 years ago, and they're bundling some of these Broodlords that they've had around for quite some time. So whatever you decide to make, whether the Trygon Prime or the Morlock, you'll be really chuffed with the model, and I'm looking forward to getting another one and the bigger creatures. It is now my biggest creature, biggest monster in my Tyranid army. I mean, the Hive Tyrant is pretty big, but that's mainly just due to the wing factor. The Trygon is a taller model in most aspects, bigger head, bigger sort of longer, sleeker body, and a much bigger base. And as much as I like the Flying Hive Tyrant, the Trygon is my favourite model in the whole army so far. But there are a couple more models that I would like to get, and possibly they will topple it off its throne. Now, do I think this set on the whole is a better set than the previous one? No, I don't. The Genestealers are old models. The Broodlord is, although a fantastic looking model, it's quite a monopose model. The saving grace is the Trygon in this set. It is a fantastic kit. Now, if this kit didn't include the Trygon, I probably wouldn't even bothered with the set. Whereas the previous set, you're saving more money. You're getting the Hive Tyrant that you can have a multiple of options with. You're getting the Warriors that you can again have multiple options on. But the downside for that set again is the Gargoyles. So it's quite interesting that in both of the sets, the models that are letting them down are typically the oldest models and the smaller sort of troop choices. The larger sort of Tyranid Warriors are a better troop choice in the set, and the HQ is very good. And this large Trygon is another saving grace and great model in this set. But if you're new to Tyranids, you can't go wrong getting either of these sets. If you haven't got any of the models, I think it would be better if you manage to get your hands on the older set first, because it does give you a hard Tyrant, and a lot of those skills involved with making those models, you can carry them forward. And the Trygon, you'll have a lot of fun making this model in this set with the experience from the other set. You may get a bit annoyed with all the mould lines and things for this old Genestealer kit on all the limbs, going through your 32 individual arms, getting rid of those mould lines, you might lose your patience over that, but luckily you'll have a lot of fun with the Trygon and the Broodlord. If it was me and I was starting this set again, I would just get the Genestealers out of the way, build them how you want to build them, then go for the Broodlord, which is a really nice, relaxing basic model to build, and then have a lot of fun with your Trygon. If I was to do it in that order. But you know what I'm like, I couldn't wait, and I built the Trygon first, which meant that eventually I was left with the Genestealers to build. And that's all I really wanted to say about the new Start Collecting set. It's a decent set. It does save you money from buying the models separately. It's great if you want to start collecting Tyranids. That's the whole point of these sets in a way. But even if you've got a Tyranid force, and you've just got Genestealers in it and you haven't got the Broodlord and the Trygon, then it's a great set too, just to get those two models, and to obviously bump up your force of Genestealers. I would really like the next set to have another big monstrous creature, like a Trygon and some Termagants. I think that they did do a Termagant brood or Trygon brood at one point, but they don't do it anymore, which had the Trygon in it and some Termagants. If Games Workshop brought that out again, I'd definitely be on board with that. Likewise, if they did some kind of subterranean assault brood or something like that, which had Trygon, Raveners, even Hormagaunts in it, something like that, then that would be a good kit. There needs to be more. Looking at the Tyranid lineup, I really like a lot of their models in the range, like the Trygon and the Tyrannofex and the Toxicrene, but I just wish there were more. I just wish there were more Tyranid models and updated versions of like the Genestealers and the Raveners and things like that. There's definitely a lot of scope to improve the range and get more kits out, more army kits that are sort of thematic. You could have a winged one, you could have a subterranean one, you could have a armoured force one. You know, they already do the Carnifex brood, which gives you plenty of options in that kit. Anyway, that's all I really want to say about the review. What's your favourite model in the kit? Are you picking one up? How are you going to use it in your existing army? Please do put all your thoughts and opinions and things down below in the comment section. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. For the Norn Queen.